Imagine a lion born in the wild, the king of the jungle, powerful, feared, and capable of surviving against impossible odds. Now imagine that same lion being fed every day. No hunting, no struggle, no challenge. Every morning, food appears. Every evening, food appears again. At first, it seems like a blessing. Why risk injury chasing prey when a meal is guaranteed? Why endure hunger when satisfaction is always waiting? But something strange begins to happen. The lion grows comfortable, then lazy, then dependent. Its muscles weaken. Its instincts fade. Its hunger disappears, not because it has mastered it, but because it never has to face it. Years later, if that lion were released back into the wild, it would face a terrifying reality. The greatest danger isn't that it lacks strength. The greatest danger is that it forgot how to use it. And in many ways, that lion is the perfect metaphor for modern man. Because the most dangerous addiction isn't alcohol. It isn't drugs. It isn't gambling. It isn't even social media. The most dangerous addiction is comfort. An addiction so socially accepted that most people don't even recognize it. An addiction that slowly steals ambition, discipline, resilience, and purpose while convincing you that everything is fine. Think about it. Never before in human history has pleasure been so available. Entertainment arrives instantly. Food arrives instantly. Validation arrives instantly. Distraction arrives instantly. The moment boredom appears, we eliminate it. The moment discomfort appears, we escape it. The moment struggle begins, we look for shortcuts. And little by little, something inside us changes. Not dramatically, not overnight, but gradually. The same way a lion forgets how to hunt. Most people believe addiction is about consuming something harmful. But the deeper truth is that addiction is anything that weakens your ability to face reality without it. That's why comfort can become more dangerous than obvious vices. A drug addict knows he has a problem. A man addicted to comfort often believes he's living a good life. He mistakes convenience for happiness, ease for success, pleasure for fulfillment. And because the decline is invisible, he never notices what's happening. His dreams become smaller. His standards become lower. His tolerance for discomfort disappears, until one day he realizes years have passed, yet he has barely moved forward. The tragedy isn't that he failed. The tragedy is that he stopped trying. Because every meaningful achievement in life requires a confrontation with discomfort. Strength requires resistance. Confidence requires uncertainty. Growth requires challenge. Purpose requires sacrifice. There's no way around it. The things that make a man powerful are forged in environments that comfort tries to help him avoid. And that is why comfort becomes so dangerous. It doesn't attack you. It seduces you. It whispers. It negotiates. It tells you that one more day won't matter. One more excuse won't matter. One more distraction won't matter. And before you realize it, you've traded your potential for temporary relief. The lion never notices the day it becomes incapable of hunting. The process is gradual, silent, invisible, just like the process happening to millions of people today. The question is, have you become stronger over the last few years? Or have you simply become more comfortable? Because the answer to that question may reveal the addiction that is quietly controlling your life. And in the next chapter, we'll uncover why the human brain is wired to crave this addiction, and why escaping it has become one of the greatest challenges of the modern world. More than 2,000 years ago, one of the greatest military commanders in history accomplished what many believed was impossible. His name was Hannibal. With an army of tens of thousands of men and even war elephants, he crossed the towering Alps to invade Italy. The journey was brutal. Freezing temperatures, treacherous mountain paths, starvation, disease, constant danger. Many soldiers died before reaching their destination, yet the survivors became something extraordinary. Every hardship forged them into tougher, more disciplined warriors. They learned to endure pain, to move forward despite exhaustion, to survive when survival seemed impossible. And when they finally entered Roman territory, they shocked the world. Again and again, Hannibal defeated armies much larger than his own. Battle after battle, victory followed victory. Rome itself trembled. It seemed as if nothing could stop him. But then something happened. Not a devastating military defeat. Not a catastrophic ambush. Not a superior enemy strategy. Something far more subtle. Comfort. After years of campaigning, Hannibal's forces spent time in the luxurious city of Capua. For exhausted soldiers, it felt like paradise. Warm baths, soft beds, abundant food, entertainment, pleasure, everything they had been deprived of during years of struggle suddenly became available. At first it seemed harmless. After all, hadn't they earned it? Hadn't they suffered enough? Hadn't they sacrificed more than anyone else? But according to many historical accounts, the comfort of Capua began changing the army. The same men who had marched through snow-covered mountains started losing their edge. Discipline weakened. Urgency faded. Resilience declined. The habits that had made them dangerous slowly disappeared. The Roman historian's warning became legendary. What the armies of Rome could not defeat. Luxury eventually weakened. Whether every detail of the story is perfectly accurate is less important than the lesson it reveals, because the same pattern repeats itself throughout history and throughout life. The greatest threats often arrive disguised as rewards. Success creates comfort. Comfort creates complacency. Complacency creates decline. This cycle destroys individuals, businesses, empires, and nations. Why? Because struggle forces growth. Comfort encourages stagnation. When conditions are difficult, people adapt. They become resourceful, focused, disciplined. But when life becomes too easy, the pressure that once sharpened them disappears. And without realizing it, they begin to drift. This is exactly how the addiction to comfort operates. It never feels dangerous. In fact, it feels deserved. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. I need a break. I've worked hard enough. One day won't hurt. And sometimes those things are true. The danger isn't occasional comfort. The danger is making comfort your default state. Because what begins as recovery can become dependence. And dependence slowly weakens your ability to endure discomfort. The same discomfort required to achieve anything meaningful. Look around today. Many people aren't defeated by obstacles. They're defeated by convenience. They aren't trapped by failure. They're trapped by endless comfort. Every difficult task competes against easy entertainment. Every long-term goal competes against instant gratification. Every opportunity for growth competes against the temptation to remain comfortable. And comfort usually wins. Not because it's stronger, but because it's easier. That's what makes it so dangerous. An enemy charging toward you can be identified. An enemy hiding behind pleasure often cannot. The soldiers in Capua likely believed they were enjoying a well-earned rest. They didn't realize they were slowly losing the qualities that had made them powerful in the first place. And many people today are making the same mistake. The question isn't whether comfort exists in your life. The question is whether comfort is serving you or whether you're serving it. Because every day you choose comfort over growth, you reinforce a habit that becomes an identity. And eventually, an identity becomes a destiny. In the next chapter, we'll explore the hidden psychological mechanism that keeps people trapped in this cycle, and why the human brain often chooses immediate pleasure, even when it knows the cost. At this point, you might be wondering, if comfort is so dangerous, if endless pleasure weakens us, if we know distraction is stealing our time, then why do we keep going back to it? Why does a man promise himself he'll focus on his goals, only to find himself scrolling for hours? Why does he choose temporary pleasure over long-term success? Why does he repeat habits he knows are hurting him? The answer lies deep inside the human brain, and it revolves around a powerful chemical called dopamine. Most people think dopamine is the chemical of pleasure, but that's not entirely true. Dopamine is the chemical of anticipation. It drives desire, craving, pursuit. It is the force that pushes human beings toward rewards. Thousands of years ago, this system helped our ancestors survive. When food was scarce, dopamine motivated them to hunt. When shelter was needed, dopamine motivated them to build. When survival depended on effort, dopamine encouraged action. The system worked beautifully, but the modern world changed the game. For the first time in history, rewards became easier to obtain than the effort required to earn them, and the brain was never designed for that. Today, your brain can receive powerful dopamine spikes without accomplishing anything meaningful. A notification, a viral video, a like, a message, a short clip, a piece of junk food, a quick escape from boredom. Each one delivers a small reward, a small hit, a small burst of stimulation, and your brain remembers it. Because from your brain's perspective, rewards are rewards. It doesn't automatically distinguish between what helps you grow and what slowly destroys your potential. It simply learns, this feels good. Do it again, and that's where the trap begins. Most people think addiction starts when something feels amazing. In reality, addiction often starts when something helps you avoid discomfort. Stress? Open your phone. Bored? Watch another video. Lonely? Seek validation. Anxious? Find a distraction. Over time, the brain learns a dangerous lesson. Whenever discomfort appears, escape. And that lesson becomes automatic. The problem is that discomfort is not your enemy. Discomfort is the gateway to growth. The discomfort of studying creates knowledge. The discomfort of training creates strength. The discomfort of rejection creates confidence. The discomfort of discipline creates freedom. Yet modern dopamine sources teach the opposite lesson. They train people to run from discomfort instead of through it. Imagine a man standing at a crossroads. One path offers instant pleasure. The other offers long-term growth. The first path is easy. The second path is difficult. His brain naturally pulls him toward the immediate reward, not because he's weak, not because he's lazy, but because his brain is operating exactly as it was designed to. The difference is that today's environment weaponizes that design. Every app, every notification, every algorithm, every endless stream of content competes for one thing: your attention. Because attention is valuable, and the easiest way to capture attention is through dopamine. The result? Many people are living in a constant state of stimulation, yet they feel increasingly empty. Why? Because dopamine and fulfillment are not the same thing. This is one of the biggest misconceptions of modern life. Dopamine creates excitement. Fulfillment creates meaning. Dopamine creates anticipation. Fulfillment creates satisfaction. Dopamine says, I want more. Fulfillment says, I have enough. And when a person becomes addicted to dopamine, more is never enough. More entertainment, more validation, more scrolling, more distractions, more stimulation. The hunger never ends because the reward system adapts. What excited you yesterday becomes normal today. What felt satisfying last month feels boring now. So you consume more and more and more, yet somehow you feel less alive. This is why some of the most entertained people are also the most restless. The most connected people often feel the most isolated. The most stimulated people frequently struggle to focus. Their brains have become conditioned to constant rewards, and ordinary life can no longer compete. Reading feels slow. Work feels boring. Discipline feels painful. Silence feels unbearable. The very activities that create success begin to feel uncomfortable, not because they are harmful, but because they cannot compete with artificial dopamine spikes. This is how potential gets stolen, not in one dramatic moment, but through thousands of tiny decisions, tiny moments of escape, tiny moments of comfort, tiny moments of distraction. Each one seems harmless, but together they create a life of dependency, a life where the brain becomes a servant to craving. And here's the most dangerous part. The more you obey every craving, the weaker your ability to resist the next one becomes. Every act of indulgence strengthens the habit. Every act of discipline strengthens the mind. One builds dependence. The other builds freedom. The battle is not happening in your circumstances. It is happening in your nervous system, in your habits, in the invisible choices nobody else sees. Because the person who controls his dopamine controls his attention, and the person who controls his attention controls his future. In the next chapter, we'll uncover a surprising truth that history, philosophy, and psychology all agree on. Why the strongest people don't avoid suffering. They deliberately seek certain forms of it. Imagine placing a man in a room with a single book. At first, he reads it with interest. Days later, he knows every page. Weeks later, the book loses its power. His brain adapts. The excitement fades. Now imagine giving him an endless library where a new book appears every few seconds. A story more shocking than the last. A plot more dramatic than the last. A new mystery before the previous one is even finished. What happens? He stops reading deeply. He starts chasing novelty. The next book. The next story. The next surprise. The next stimulation. Eventually, he no longer enjoys the content itself. He becomes addicted to the search. This is exactly what has happened to millions of people in the modern world. Because the greatest addiction isn't always pleasure. It's novelty. the constant pursuit of something new, something different, something more exciting. And nowhere is this more obvious than in social media and pornography. These industries have discovered something powerful about human psychology. The brain pays attention to what is new. For our ancestors, novelty was useful. A new food source could mean survival. A new opportunity could change everything. A new threat could be dangerous. Being attracted to novelty helped human beings adapt. But today's world exploits that instinct on a scale never seen before. Every swipe reveals something different. Every scroll offers another surprise. Every refresh promises something better, something funnier, something more shocking, something more stimulating. The reward is never guaranteed, and that's exactly why it becomes addictive. Psychologists have long understood that unpredictable rewards are among the most powerful forces influencing behavior. When you don't know what comes next, your brain becomes obsessed with finding out. That's why people keep pulling slot machine levers. That's why they keep refreshing feeds. That's why they keep checking notifications. And that's why they keep scrolling long after they intended to stop. They're not chasing satisfaction. They're chasing possibility. The possibility that the next piece of content will finally be the one worth seeing. But it never is, because another one immediately follows. And another. And another. The cycle never ends. Social media transformed this psychological weakness into a business model. Every platform competes to keep you engaged. Not for minutes, for hours. The longer you stay, the more valuable your attention becomes. So the algorithms learn your desires, your fears, your curiosities, your impulses. Then they feed them back to you endlessly. A perfectly customized stream of stimulation. A machine designed to make leaving feel difficult. But pornography pushes the novelty trap even further. Because unlike ordinary entertainment, it directly targets some of the strongest reward circuits in the human brain. What once required real-world effort, uncertainty, and human connection can now be accessed instantly. An endless stream of novelty. Unlimited options. Unlimited variety. Unlimited stimulation. And that's where the danger begins. Because the human brain evolved in a world of limits. Modern technology offers a world without them. A man can consume more novelty in a single evening than his ancestors experienced in years. His brain simply wasn't built for that. Over time, the reward system adapts. Ordinary experiences become less exciting. Real conversations feel slower. Real relationships feel less stimulating. Real achievements feel less rewarding. Not because reality has become worse, but because the brain has become overstimulated. This is one of the cruelest consequences of the novelty trap. The more artificial excitement you consume, the harder it becomes to appreciate ordinary life. A quiet morning feels boring. Reading feels difficult. Deep work feels exhausting. Meaningful relationships require patience. Everything valuable starts to feel less appealing than the endless stream of instant stimulation. And yet the stimulation never truly satisfies. Think about it. If novelty created fulfillment, people would eventually feel complete. But that's not what happens. The more novelty they consume, the more they crave. The appetite grows. The threshold rises. The hunger intensifies. Like drinking salt water to cure thirst. The solution becomes the problem. And this is where many people unknowingly lose control of their lives. Not through one catastrophic decision, but through thousands of moments spent chasing the next thing. The next video, the next notification, the next image, the next distraction, the next hit of dopamine, all while their ability to focus, create, and endure discomfort quietly deteriorates. The tragedy is that many people mistake stimulation for living, but stimulation is not the same as meaning. Being entertained is not the same as being fulfilled. Being distracted is not the same as being happy, and endless novelty is not the same as freedom. In fact, it can become a prison without walls, a prison people willingly carry in their pockets. The people who escape this trap discover something surprising. The secret to a powerful life is not consuming more, it's needing less, because every craving you master returns a piece of your freedom. Every distraction you overcome strengthens your attention. Every moment you resist artificial stimulation sharpens your ability to focus on what truly matters. And in the next chapter, We'll explore the uncomfortable truth most people spend their entire lives avoiding, why suffering, when chosen wisely, may be the very thing that sets you free. Most people imagine that powerful men are destroyed through war, through betrayal, through assassination, through force. History certainly contains many examples of that, but some of the most effective victories were achieved without a single sword being drawn. Because truly intelligent rulers understood something profound. If you want to control a man, you do not always need to fight him. You only need to weaken him. And one of the most reliable ways to weaken a man is to make him comfortable. Throughout history, ambitious kings, conquering generals, and rising empires often faced the same danger after achieving success. Not external enemies, internal decay. The very comforts created by victory would slowly erode the qualities that made victory possible. Discipline became indulgence. Sacrifice became entitlement. Strength became luxury. And luxury became decline. Again and again, history reveals the same pattern. An empire rises through hardship. Its people become resilient, focused, hungry, determined. They endure suffering because they have no choice. These qualities create strength. Strength creates prosperity. But prosperity creates comfort. And comfort begins changing the people who created it. The next generation inherits rewards they never had to earn. The struggle that forged their ancestors disappears. The discipline that built the empire fades. And eventually, the civilization begins consuming itself from within. What enemy armies could not destroy, comfort often accomplished quietly. This pattern appears so frequently that it almost feels like a law of human nature. The danger isn't wealth. The danger isn't success. The danger is forgetting the behaviors that created them. Because comfort has a strange effect on human beings. It lowers vigilance. It weakens urgency. It encourages dependency. A man who is constantly challenged remains alert. A man who is constantly entertained often becomes passive. And passive people are easy to control. This principle was understood by rulers long before modern psychology existed. The most effective form of control was rarely fear alone. Fear creates resistance, but pleasure creates compliance. Give people enough distractions and many will stop asking difficult questions. Give them enough entertainment and many will stop pursuing difficult goals. Give them enough comfort and many will voluntarily surrender their ambition. The prison becomes invisible, and invisible prisons are often the hardest to escape. This is why some of history's most powerful leaders remained suspicious of excessive luxury, not because they hated pleasure, but because they understood its hidden cost. They knew that comfort can slowly disconnect a man from reality. The warrior becomes soft. The leader becomes complacent. The thinker becomes distracted. The creator becomes dependent on convenience. The conqueror becomes satisfied. And satisfaction, when it arrives too early, can be deadly. Because growth requires tension. Without tension, there is no adaptation. Without adaptation, there is no progress. Without progress, decline begins. Look at the strongest people you know, the individuals who command respect, the people who consistently achieve difficult things, the men and women who seem mentally unbreakable. You will notice something interesting. Most of them did not become strong because life was easy. They became strong because life demanded something from them. Responsibility, sacrifice, discipline, endurance, challenge, the very things modern culture often encourages people to avoid. And that's where the addiction to comfort becomes truly dangerous. It doesn't merely waste time. It reshapes character. Every time you choose convenience over growth, you reinforce a pattern. Every time you choose distraction over focus, you strengthen a habit. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you train yourself to retreat from discomfort. Eventually, this becomes your identity, not because you consciously chose it, but because repeated actions become beliefs, and beliefs become destiny. The most powerful form of neutralization is not physical. It is psychological. A man who loses his hunger is easier to defeat than a man who loses a battle. A man who abandons discipline is easier to control than a man who loses money. A man who becomes addicted to comfort often surrenders his power long before he realizes it. That is why the most dangerous addictions rarely look dangerous. They arrive disguised as rewards, as convenience, as pleasure, as entertainment, as comfort. And by the time their consequences become visible, years may have already been lost. The kings of the past feared invading armies. The modern man faces a different enemy, an enemy that doesn't attack from outside, an enemy that whispers from within, an enemy that says, "Relax, tomorrow is fine. You deserve a break. One more won't hurt." And for many people, that whisper becomes the voice that quietly governs their entire lives. In the next chapter, we'll discover the paradox that transformed warriors, philosophers, and high achievers across history, why voluntarily embracing difficulty may be the closest thing to a superpower in the modern world. More than 2,000 years ago, a philosopher issued a warning that feels almost prophetic today. His name was Seneca. He lived surrounded by wealth, political power, luxury, and privilege. He advised emperors, accumulated immense riches, and witnessed firsthand what comfort could do to the human mind. Yet despite having access to nearly every pleasure available in the Roman world, Seneca repeatedly warned against becoming dependent on them. Not because comfort was evil, but because dependence was. This is a distinction most people never learn. The Stoics did not believe that pleasure itself was the problem. They believed the real danger was becoming a slave to pleasure. Because the moment your peace depends on comfort, comfort gains power over you. The moment your happiness depends on convenience, convenience begins controlling your behavior. The moment you cannot function without pleasure, pleasure becomes your master. And that is exactly what Seneca feared. He understood something that modern psychology would later confirm: human beings adapt quickly. What once felt like a luxury soon feels normal. What once felt special becomes expected. And what becomes expected eventually feels necessary. This is why people can gain more money, more possessions, more entertainment, and more convenience, yet never feel satisfied. Their standards adjust, their desires expand, their expectations rise, and the cycle continues. The more they have, the more they need. The more they consume, the less they appreciate. The more comfortable they become, the more fragile they often feel. Seneca believed there was only one way to escape this trap: practice discomfort voluntarily. At first, that sounds strange. Why would anyone willingly choose difficulty? Why would someone intentionally step away from comfort? Because voluntary discomfort creates freedom. Seneca occasionally practiced what he called poverty exercises. For short periods, he would wear simple clothing, eat basic food, and live with fewer comforts than he could easily afford. Not because he had to, because he wanted to remind himself of something important: that he could survive without luxury, that he was stronger than his desires, that comfort was a privilege, not a necessity. Imagine how powerful that mindset is. Most people spend their lives trying to acquire more. The Stoics spent part of their lives proving they needed less. And in that difference lies a profound psychological advantage, because fear loses its power when you stop depending on the things it threatens to take away. A man terrified of losing comfort becomes easy to control. A man who knows he can endure hardship becomes difficult to intimidate. This is why Stoicism was embraced by soldiers, leaders, statesmen, and thinkers for centuries. Not because it made life easier, because it made people stronger. The Stoics understood that resilience is built before it is needed. You don't develop courage in the middle of a crisis. You develop it beforehand. You don't develop discipline during temptation. You develop it before temptation arrives. You don't become mentally strong when life gets hard. You become mentally strong by deliberately facing small hardships while life is still comfortable. This principle is almost the opposite of how many people live today. Modern culture often encourages maximum comfort at all times. Avoid inconvenience. Avoid boredom. Avoid effort. Avoid struggle. Avoid discomfort. Yet the more discomfort people avoid, the less capable they become of handling it. And because discomfort is unavoidable, life eventually exposes that weakness. The person who cannot tolerate boredom becomes addicted to distraction. The person who cannot tolerate loneliness becomes addicted to validation. The person who cannot tolerate uncertainty becomes addicted to reassurance. The person who cannot tolerate discomfort becomes addicted to comfort. The addiction deepens not because life becomes harder, but because tolerance becomes weaker. Seneca saw this danger long before smartphones, social media, streaming platforms, and endless digital stimulation existed. And if he could see the modern world, his warning would likely be even stronger, because never before has comfort been so abundant. Never before has escape been so accessible. Never before has distraction been available every second of every day. Yet never before have so many people struggled with focus, purpose, resilience, and inner peace. That is not a coincidence. The human mind grows through resistance, just as muscles grow through resistance. Remove all resistance and growth stops. Remove all challenge and strength fades. Remove all discomfort and character weakens. The Stoics understood that the goal of life is not to eliminate difficulty. The goal is to become the kind of person who can face difficulty without breaking. And that changes everything. Because once you stop fearing discomfort, you stop running from the very experiences that create growth. You become willing to take risks, to pursue difficult goals, to endure temporary pain for long-term rewards, to remain calm when others panic, to stay focused when others seek escape. In a world addicted to comfort, this becomes a rare form of power. The person who can willingly embrace discomfort possesses an advantage that cannot be bought, inherited, or downloaded, an advantage that grows stronger every year. And in the next chapter, we'll uncover the surprising reason why some of the most successful people in history deliberately made their lives harder, even when they could have made them easier. In the late 19th century, a philosopher made a prediction that still echoes through the modern world. His name was Friedrich Nietzsche, and he warned of a future where humanity would not be conquered by war, not by disease, not by famine, not by tyrants, but by comfort. He called this future creation the last man. And if his prediction was correct, the last man would become one of the greatest dangers civilization would ever face. At first glance, the last man seems successful. He is safe, comfortable, entertained, protected from hardship. His life contains more convenience than any generation before him. Yet beneath the surface, something essential is missing. He has lost the desire to strive, to sacrifice, to become, to transcend himself. And that is what terrified Nietzsche, because he believed that greatness is born from struggle, not comfort, from challenge, not convenience, from overcoming resistance, not avoiding it. The last man wants none of these things. He seeks only ease, only security, only pleasure, only comfort. His highest goal is not excellence. It is comfort, not growth, but convenience, not meaning, but entertainment. Nietzsche imagined the last man saying, "We have invented happiness." But the phrase was meant as a warning, not a celebration, because what he called happiness was not genuine fulfillment. It was the absence of challenge, the absence of risk, the absence of ambition, the absence of anything that demands courage. The last man avoids suffering at all costs. But in doing so, he also avoids transformation. He avoids becoming more than he currently is. And this is where Nietzsche's warning becomes disturbingly relevant. Look around. Never before has society offered so many ways to avoid discomfort. Bored? Open an app. Lonely? Seek digital validation. Anxious? Distract yourself. Uncertain? Find another source of entertainment. Every uncomfortable emotion can be numbed almost instantly. Yet despite this abundance of comfort, many people feel lost. Not because they lack pleasure, but because they lack purpose. And purpose is rarely found inside comfort. Purpose emerges when people pursue something difficult, something meaningful, something larger than themselves. This is why human beings often feel most alive during struggle. The entrepreneur building a business, the athlete training for competition, the artist creating something meaningful, the parent sacrificing for a child, the student pursuing mastery. None of these experiences are easy, yet they often create deeper fulfillment than endless pleasure ever could. Why? Because meaning requires effort. Meaning requires sacrifice. Meaning requires movement towards something beyond immediate gratification. The last man rejects all of this. He chooses comfort instead, and that choice slowly transforms him. His ambitions shrink. His resilience weakens. His attention fragments. His standards decline. Not all at once, but gradually. The process is almost invisible, which is why it becomes so dangerous. The last man doesn't believe he's losing anything. He believes he's winning. He has more convenience, more entertainment, more comfort, more distractions. Yet each gain comes with a hidden cost. A loss of discipline, a loss of courage, a loss of focus, a loss of purpose, and eventually a loss of freedom. Because a person ruled by comfort is not truly free. He is dependent on stimulation, dependent on convenience, dependent on escape, dependent on conditions remaining easy. The moment those conditions disappear, so does his sense of stability. Nietzsche believed humanity faced a choice. One path leads toward comfort as the highest value. The other leads toward growth, challenge, and self-overcoming. The first path feels easier. The second path creates stronger people. And history repeatedly shows which path produces greatness. Every remarkable achievement, every meaningful accomplishment, every extraordinary life story begins with someone embracing difficulty rather than avoiding it. Nobody becomes powerful by accident. Nobody develops character through convenience. Nobody discovers their highest potential while remaining permanently comfortable. Transformation requires friction. Growth requires resistance. And greatness requires sacrifice. This is the truth the last man desperately tries to escape. He wants the rewards without the struggle, the confidence without the risk, the success without the sacrifice, the strength without the hardship. But life rarely works that way. The qualities people admire most are forged in adversity, not purchased through comfort, not downloaded through convenience, not delivered through endless stimulation. Forged, slowly, painfully, deliberately. And that brings us to the most important question of this entire video. If comfort is the trap, if distraction is the prison, if endless pleasure is the bait, then how do you escape? How do you reclaim your focus, your discipline, and your freedom in a world designed to keep you comfortable? In the next chapter, we'll uncover the practical path forward, the daily habits that can break the addiction to comfort and rebuild the strength that modern life quietly erodes. There is a type of person that appears throughout history, mythology, psychology, and modern society. At first, he seems harmless. He avoids responsibility, avoids commitment, avoids sacrifice, avoids difficult decisions. He wants freedom without discipline, pleasure without consequences, comfort without effort. And although he may grow older, something inside him never truly matures. The great psychologist Carl Jung explored this phenomenon through an archetype often associated with what later thinkers called the pure eternus, the eternal boy. Not a child in age, a child in spirit. A person trapped in perpetual adolescence. Someone who dreams endlessly about what he could become, yet resists the discomfort required to become it. This is one of the most subtle consequences of addiction to comfort. Because comfort doesn't merely weaken discipline, it delays psychological growth. Think about what transforms a boy into a man. Responsibility, sacrifice, commitment, difficulty, the willingness to carry burdens, the willingness to endure discomfort for a purpose greater than immediate pleasure. Throughout history, these experiences forced maturity. Life demanded it. Survival demanded it. Reality demanded it. But modern life often offers an alternative. A person can now spend years avoiding responsibility while remaining entertained, distracted, and comfortable. He can postpone difficult choices indefinitely. He can remain in a state of endless consumption, always preparing, always planning, always imagining, never acting. And that is where the eternal boy emerges. The eternal boy loves possibilities. He loves fantasies. He loves future success. But he fears commitment, because commitment closes doors. Responsibility creates pressure. Growth requires sacrifice. And sacrifice feels uncomfortable. So he remains where he is, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect motivation, the perfect circumstances, a day that never arrives. Years pass. Potential remains unrealized. Dreams remain unfinished. And life quietly moves forward without him. This pattern is everywhere. The man who constantly talks about starting a business but never begins. The person who consumes self-improvement, content every day, but never changes. The dreamer who imagines greatness but avoids the work that greatness demands. The individual who seeks endless stimulation because reality feels less exciting than fantasy. What makes this trap so dangerous is that it often feels productive. The eternal boy mistakes preparation for progress, information for transformation, consumption for action. He convinces himself he is moving forward because he is thinking about moving forward. But thinking is not doing, watching is not creating, planning is not executing, and eventually, reality demands evidence, not intentions, not dreams, not potential. Results: Jung believed that psychological development requires confronting reality, not escaping it. A person becomes stronger by engaging with life, not by hiding from it. By accepting responsibility, not avoiding it. By facing uncertainty, not retreating into comfort. This is why the addiction to comfort can become an addiction to immaturity. Every time a person chooses immediate pleasure over meaningful responsibility, he strengthens the part of himself that wants to remain a child. The part that seeks ease. The part that seeks escape. The part that wants rewards without effort. And that part grows stronger with repetition. But so does its opposite. Because inside every person exists another force. The force that seeks growth, mastery, responsibility, purpose. The force that understands an uncomfortable truth. A meaningful life is often heavier than a comfortable life. Yet it is also infinitely more rewarding. The strongest people are not those who avoid burdens. They are those who choose worthy burdens. The entrepreneur chooses the burden of building. The parent chooses the burden of caring. The leader chooses the burden of responsibility. The artist chooses the burden of creation. The warrior chooses the burden of discipline. And through those burdens, they grow. This is the paradox modern culture rarely discusses. Many people spend their lives trying to make life easier. Yet meaning often emerges when life becomes more demanding. Not because suffering is inherently good, but because responsibility gives suffering a purpose. Without purpose, discomfort feels unbearable. With purpose, discomfort becomes transformation. The eternal boy wants comfort today. The mature man invests in strength for tomorrow. The eternal boy asks, "What feels good right now?" The mature man asks, "Who am I becoming through this?" And that single question changes everything. Because the quality of your future depends on which voice you choose to follow. The voice of comfort or the voice of growth. One leads toward dependency. The other leads toward freedom. One preserves the child. The other creates the man. And in the next chapter, we'll explore the hidden cost of always choosing the easier path, and why every comfort carries a price that eventually must be paid. By now, a disturbing pattern has emerged. The lion forgot how to hunt. Hannibal's warriors lost their edge. Seneca warned against becoming dependent on luxury. Nietzsche feared the rise of the last man. Jung described the eternal boy. Different centuries, different cultures, different philosophies, yet all of them pointed toward the same danger. A life devoted to comfort slowly weakens the human spirit. But that raises an important question. If comfort is the trap, how do you escape it? How do you live in a world overflowing with distraction without becoming controlled by it? How do you reclaim your focus, discipline, and strength when temptation surrounds you every day? The answer is surprisingly simple. Powerful men do not wait to feel motivated. They build systems that make discipline inevitable. This is one of the biggest differences between ordinary people and exceptional people. Most people trust their feelings. Powerful people trust their habits. The average person asks, "Do I feel like doing this today?" The disciplined person asks, "What does my system require?" And systems are powerful because they remove negotiation. Think about it. Every time you debate whether to exercise, you're already spending mental energy. Every time you argue with yourself about working, studying, or focusing, temptation has entered the conversation. The strongest people reduce those conversations. They decide once, then they execute repeatedly, because they understand something crucial. Willpower is unreliable. Structure is not. That is why many high performers organize their environment carefully. They don't simply fight distractions. They remove them. They know that every unnecessary temptation steals attention. Every unnecessary decision drains energy. Every unnecessary distraction weakens focus. Instead of relying on constant self-control, they make good behavior easier and bad behavior harder. The phone leaves the room. Notifications disappear. Schedules become fixed. Priorities become clear. Discipline becomes automatic. This isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Because the goal is not to win one battle. The goal is to win thousands of small battles over the course of a lifetime. Another thing powerful men do differently is that they deliberately expose themselves to discomfort. Not extreme suffering. Not self-punishment. Strategic discomfort. The kind that strengthens character. The kind that expands capacity. The kind that reminds the mind who is in control. They train when they don't feel like training. They work when motivation disappears. They keep promises to themselves even when nobody is watching. And every time they do, something important happens. Their identity changes. Most people think discipline creates results. That is true. But discipline also creates self-respect. Every promise you keep to yourself becomes evidence. Evidence that you are reliable. Evidence that you are capable. Evidence that you can trust yourself. And self-trust is one of the most powerful forms of confidence. Because confidence is not built through positive thinking. It is built through repeated proof. Proof that you can endure discomfort. Proof that you can follow through. Proof that you can do difficult things. Powerful men also understand the value of boredom. This may sound strange in a world obsessed with stimulation, but boredom is where focus is rebuilt. Every time you resist the urge to reach for instant entertainment, you strengthen your attention. Every time you sit quietly with your thoughts, you reclaim control over your mind. Every time you choose depth over distraction, your mental strength increases. The modern world teaches people to fear boredom. Powerful people use it as training. Because a distracted mind becomes weak. A focused mind becomes dangerous. And perhaps most importantly, powerful men operate with a long-term perspective. The addicted mind asks, "What will make me feel good today?" The disciplined mind asks, "What will make my life better 5 years from now?" That question changes everything. Suddenly, short-term pleasure loses some of its power. Because every decision is measured against a larger vision. Every distraction is evaluated against a greater purpose. Every temptation is weighed against future consequences. And purpose is the ultimate antidote to comfort addiction. People rarely overcome destructive habits through self-control alone. They overcome them when they find something more important than the habit. A mission, a goal, a responsibility, a vision of who they want to become. Purpose gives pain meaning. Purpose gives sacrifice value. Purpose makes discipline sustainable. Without purpose, discomfort feels pointless. With purpose, discomfort becomes an investment. This is why the strongest individuals throughout history often shared one characteristic. They lived for something larger than immediate gratification, larger than comfort, larger than pleasure, larger than convenience. They understood that every day presents a choice, comfort or growth, escape or responsibility, consumption or creation, weakness or strength. And those choices compound. One day becomes 1 week. 1 week becomes 1 year. 1 year becomes a life. The person you become is not determined by a single dramatic moment. It is determined by the habits you repeat when nobody is watching. The small decisions, the invisible decisions, the uncomfortable decisions, because those decisions are shaping your future, whether you notice them or not. And now we arrive at the final chapter. The chapter that brings everything together. The chapter that reveals the ultimate cost of comfort and the challenge that may completely change the trajectory of your life. At the beginning of this journey, we asked a simple question. What is the most dangerous addiction? Many people would immediately think of drugs, alcohol, gambling, or other obvious vices. But now you can see why the answer is far more unsettling. The most dangerous addiction is often the one nobody notices, the addiction to comfort. Because comfort rarely destroys a life overnight. It does something far worse. It slowly convinces a person to abandon their potential, one comfortable choice at a time. The lion forgot how to hunt. Hannibal's warriors lost their edge. Seneca warned against dependence on luxury. Nietzsche feared the rise of the last man. Jung described the eternal boy who never fully matures. And throughout all of these stories, one lesson remained constant. The greatest threat to strength is not suffering. It is excessive comfort. Because suffering challenges you. Comfort seduces you. Suffering demands growth. Comfort encourages stagnation. Suffering reveals character. Comfort hides weakness. And that is why comfort can be so difficult to recognize. It doesn't feel dangerous. It feels pleasant, reasonable, deserved. It whispers instead of shouts. It persuades instead of attacks. It tells you there is always tomorrow, always another chance, always more time. But life moves faster than most people realize. Weeks become months. Months become years. Years become decades. And eventually, a person wakes up and asks a painful question. What happened to the man I could have become? That question is one of the heaviest questions a human being can carry. Not because of failure, but because of unrealized potential. Because deep down, most people already know what they should be doing. They know the habit they need to quit. They know the challenge they need to face. They know the responsibility they have been avoiding. They know the goal they have postponed. The problem is rarely knowledge. The problem is action. The problem is choosing temporary comfort over long-term transformation, again and again, until the pattern becomes a life. This is why every day presents a choice. Not once, not occasionally. Every single day, the choice appears in countless forms. When the alarm rings, when the work becomes difficult, when boredom arrives, when temptation appears, when nobody is watching, when excuses seem reasonable, when comfort offers an easier path. At those moments, life asks the same question. Who are you becoming? Not who do you wish to become, not who do you hope to become. Who are you becoming through your actions? Because identity is not built through intentions. Identity is built through repetition. Every action casts a vote for the person you are becoming. Every choice strengthens a direction. Every habit builds a future. The man who repeatedly chooses comfort becomes comfortable. The man who repeatedly chooses growth becomes powerful. The difference is not talent. It is not luck. It is not intelligence. It is the accumulation of choices. Thousands of small decisions made over years. That is where destinies are created. And that is why the challenge I want to leave you with is deceptively simple. For the next 30 days, remove one source of unnecessary comfort from your life. Just one, not forever. Just long enough to observe what happens. Maybe it's endless scrolling. Maybe it's pornography. Maybe it's constant entertainment. Maybe it's the habit of avoiding difficult conversations. Maybe it's the excuse you've been using to postpone your goals. Choose one, and then remove it. Watch how uncomfortable it feels. Watch how strongly your mind tries to justify returning to it. Watch how many excuses suddenly appear, because that resistance will reveal something important. It will reveal where your freedom ends and your dependency begins. And if you can sit with that discomfort instead of escaping it, something remarkable happens. You begin rebuilding a part of yourself that modern life tries to weaken. Your focus returns, your discipline strengthens, your confidence grows, your attention sharpens, and most importantly, you start proving to yourself that you are stronger than your cravings. That is where real freedom begins. Not when life becomes easier, when you become harder to control. The world will continue offering distractions. It will continue offering convenience. It will continue offering comfort. Those things are not going away. The question is whether they will serve you, or whether you will serve them. Because in the end, every man becomes a product of what he repeatedly chooses. Comfort or growth, escape or responsibility, pleasure or purpose. The choice is made daily. The choice is made quietly. The choice is made now. And the person you become 5 years from today is already being shaped by the decision you make next. If this video challenged the way you think about comfort, comment discipline below and let everyone know you're choosing growth over convenience. And here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, eliminate one distraction that has been stealing your attention, your energy, or your future. Come back and tell us what changed. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more content on Stoicism, psychology, self-mastery, discipline, and the timeless principles that help ordinary people become extraordinary. Remember, the strongest chains are often invisible, and the strongest men are the ones who learn how to break them.